Yo, good afternoon. How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and today I'm going to answer a very spiritual question. And first and foremost, I want to thank the person who sent me this email asking these different questions. I want to thank them for entrusting me enough that they would ask for my thought process on these questions, because it's not just one. Now, their primary question that they was asking at the end, I hope to answer it throughout the video, which is, what do I believe? How do I see God? And how do I serve God? And so but they have many questions within the email. But again, I want to thank them for it. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to send them to me as well. I would be very grateful and give all respect due to the questions that are being asked. So let me go ahead and get into this video, because I don't want to hold you guys too long. Well, to give you a little bit of background, and I'm not going to name names or anything like that because that's disrespectful. But the person asked the question, they are a born-again Christian. They grew up one type of Christian, now they're a born-again Christian. And their first question was, why are there so many denominations and so many doctrines if it all came from the same book? Well, with not getting into the different translations, this person wrote that book, this person wrote this book. Let's start in today and go backwards. From today, you have so many translations of what's the Christian Bible. So many translations. So people can get different meanings. For one thing, when I was growing up, I remember when they asked Yeshua the question of, they asked you, what's the greatest commandment? When I was growing up, the Bible said that to love the Father and keep his commandments. But you don't see that in Bibles today. It doesn't say and keep his commandments. When I was growing up, it said that to call his name Emmanuel in Matthew, but now both Matthew and Luke said call his name Jesus. You see, they've added and they've made changes, and so different interpretations occur and different doctrines come out of the different interpretations. You go back the King James Version, you go back the Tinsdale Version, you go back the Authorized King James Version, which there is a difference. The Jesuits did the King James Version. The Authorized is the actual one that King James and his 54 scribes put out, but there's only so many copies left. But you had the Tinsdale Bible, the Geneva Bible. As soon as the printing press came out and people were able to begin to read for themselves, they came to their own conclusion. This is one reason why the Catholic Church, at one point, I can't remember the actual council that did it, and I can't remember the actual bishop that said it, but they said that the people should not have their own copies of the Bible, because then they will come to their own interpretation, and that the priests and the bishops and all those people were not even the priests, actually the bishops and the cardinals and the Pope were the only ones who could interpret it. This is why at the Council of Tarragona, they outlawed anybody from having it. They will be burned at the stake. This is the church. This is the Christian church saying that if you had a copy of the Bible, this is how much power they had at that time frame, that they will burn you at the stake if you had a copy, because you would come to your own interpretations. So that is why you have different doctrines. That's why you have different interpretations. Even going back to 325, they argued, fussed, and fought about the different books that should go in the Bible. From 325 to about 1400, there were different councils that fought about what books. Should the book of Revelations be in it? Should the book of Enoch be in it? It got kicked out. The book of Enoch got kicked out at the Council of Laodicea. The Revelations almost got kicked out at the Council of Laodicea because of the way Revelations talked about the Church of Laodicea. So these different books are in and out based on society at the time. Interpretations came about because of society at the time. For 1,000 years, the prostitute and Mary Magdalene were the same person. It is only in the 1940s, I believe, that they were separated, that Mary Magdalene is no longer the prostitute. She's no longer the woman that 7 demons came out of. And that actual word is not demons that was in the original. It was meaning 7 pools of energies were stirred. Chakras. That's what that verse originally meant. But those interpretations change because different people read it and they have different interpretations. The Gospel of Mark didn't have any writing in it beyond, and the stone was moving, the grave was empty, and that's it. There was nothing else. Everything else was added later. So different interpretations. The Coptic Christians, Arians, did not believe in a Trinity, so a different interpretation. Because people read it differently, because there's so many different books, the Gospel of Thomas, all the writings of Nag Hammadi, the Dead Sea Scrolls, people began to develop their own interpretations. And even when the Pilgrims came over, the Pilgrims and the Puritans, all these people left England because they believed the Church of England and the people in England weren't worshiping correctly. The Mormons and the Amish, they do it because of the same reason. Sorry for the break, but your Amish people. But as well as you will see, many other denominations and different doctrines will start to appear. I mean, look at the whole prosperity doctrine that's come up over the last 10 years. So you're going to constantly see different people trying to change it and make it work. But also in the conscious community, many people use the wisdom that is within the literature in order to show you how to connect with God. Like, there is wisdom within the book to help you connect with God without necessarily believing every word of the book. But in that, let me explain a few other aspects of that idea, because it's all about perspective. You can get wisdom from one of the classic books, A Tale of Two Cities. What does it say in the very beginning? It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Now, if you think about that, for the rich people at the beginning of the book, it is the best of times. For the poor people at the beginning of the book, it is the worst of times. By the end of the book, for the aristocrats, the rich people, it is now the worst of time. But for the poor people who just revolted and overcome the monarchy of France and now is a democracy, it is now the best of times. When you look at people today in their lives, it is the best of times for some and the worst of times for others. Some are living in hell while others are living in heaven, even in this moment. So it is perspective that creates all these different doctrines and all these different ideas and denominations. But it's also that perspective that creates your reality, that creates your universe. And when you understand that you create your universe, you realize that the God is within. That just as that wisdom of literature that you read, the Bible, the Christian Bible says that, is it not written that ye are gods or that ye are gods? You have to recognize that your divinity is inside you. That the way I see God is the fact that I see myself, and I look out and I see nature and I see God. That's how I see God, right? Now let's continue, because I don't want to keep you guys all that long. They then talked about how all they want to do is serve God and please God. They prayed and they've been looking for truth in the Bible. And like I said, you can find nuggets of truth, nuggets of wisdom without believing in the entire book, because you can get wisdom from many different books. I have a book that I utilize all the time that has the sayings of Yeshua, well, it says Jesus on it. The sayings of Jesus, the saying of Buddha, the sayings of Lao Tzu, and the sayings of Krishna that are all the same. So you can find wisdom in that book or any other piece of literature. So if you decide that you want to study whatever piece of literature you want to study, you can find wisdom, you can find elements of the Creator within them. So they say that they just want to, that they've been looking, but for them the Bible is saying nothing. When the Bible says nothing, if the Vedic says nothing, when any of those things say nothing, then you can go and look in other places and you can find. But where I want you to look first is inside yourself and look in nature. So I look out in nature and I can see God. I see God in His abundance. And this is one of the things that I want to get into, is that the abundance of nature shows the evidence of a Creator. And I said this in a video not too many videos ago, where I talked about the fact that there's not just one type of tree, nor one type of fish, or one type of anything. That the Creator obviously loves abundance, and the Creator also obviously loves fruitfulness and wants you to enjoy things. And the fact that in the email, they explain how they've given up so many things. They've given up on certain foods. They've given up on wanting to have too many things, too many material things. They removed anything out of their life that didn't involve Jesus for them, friends, entertainment, all those kind of things. The only thing I want to say about that, other than when you look out in nature and you see all the abundance that the Creator has for you, that you're supposed to have a great amount of abundance and happiness and joy in your life. You're not supposed to be an ascetic. I keep saying aesthetic, but ascetic. The story of Siddhartha Gautama, you may know him as the Buddha, is a beautiful story in that he talks about how he wanted to find the wisdom of the Creator, wanted to get closer, wanted to develop his spirituality. Now, even though this is a story that's in the Buddha, you can find so many other people who wanted to do the same thing. Saint Francis of Assisi, the same thing. These people in every religion, you can find a group that gets into the fact that if you deny yourself all these things, denying yourself food, denying sexual pleasures, denying certain entertainment, denying all these things, that it will get you closer to God. Some even get to the point of self-mutilation in order for them to believe that they're getting closer to God. There are Christian sects who they repeat the crucifixion, literally, like nail through the hand or the wrist, and nail through the feet, and to recreate that, or the lashes on their back to recreate it. But the story of Buddha really enlightened me as to how we should think about this thing. Buddha was an extreme ascetic. I mean, he made other ascetics feel unworthy to be an ascetic. All these little fat Buddhas that you see, the Buddha was very skinny, like emaciated at one point. And he was, and it is said in a story, the myth goes, and I'm going to say myth in this one, but the story, I don't like that word myth. The story goes that he lived off, drinking the dew off of a plant and eating 1 grain of rice a day. And he spent the rest of his time meditating, trying to get closer to the Creator. But it wasn't until he was sitting under the Bodhi tree. And he was sitting there looking emaciated, starving. And a young girl came up to him. Now, he had already given up his entire family. His son was born, and he left his family because he felt like his family would hold him down and keep him from being connected to the Creator. He left his wife because he believed that his wife would keep him from being connected to the Creator. He was a prince, and he left his castle, his kingdom, because he believed that it would keep him away from being closer to the Creator. He left the money, he left everything. He joined these ascetics and gave up as much as he can give up, had nothing. And this little girl came up to him, seeing that he looked starving, and she gave him food. And he accepted that food. And it was in that moment that he became enlightened. He became enlightened because he realized that giving up everything, emaciating yourself, denying yourself everything wonderful that is plentiful on this planet is not the way to get closer to the Creator. That actually giving and receiving, being a part of everything that is created, brings you closer to the Creator, because he then touched the earth. And it is said that he experienced all of the lives that he's ever lived, that he experienced different forms of creation, forms of living, of consciousness, when he touched the Bodhi tree. And when he was approached by demons to challenge him, he said that the world will testify to his existence, to the existence of the Creator. Denying yourself does not get you closer to the Creator. Now, should you deny things that are poisonous to the body? Yes. Should you deny things that are poisonous to the mind? Yes. Should you remove yourself from negative influences of people who want to drag you down? Yes. I do believe that all things negative are the antithesis of the Creator. That those are things that the Creator does not want for you to have in your life. Know of them, but not have them, because the Creator created both good and evil. The Creator made everything that there is. So therefore, evil is made by the Creator, but it is not for you to give into it, but to recognize that it's there and how to maneuver with it and around it. You have some inside you. You get angry sometimes. You get selfish sometimes. You cannot control every emotion nor thought that goes through your mind, but what you can do is not give it life. And when you don't give it life, then you are denying the evil natures, the negative portions of the brain, of the heart, of the gut, of every aspect of yourself. And when you do that, you begin to get closer to the Creator, because you are respecting yourself. You're respecting the God, the goddess within. When you respect the God or the goddess within, then that is when you start to know the Creator. You see, There's a very wise man that said that the Creator is looking to have a human experience through us, that we are all part of the Creator, and for the Creator to know pain, it knows it through us. To know joy, it knows it through us. To know gratitude, it knows it through us. To know everything in creation, it knows it through us, because we are from it. And that is how I see the Creator. I see the Creator as energy, as the positive and the negative forces of the universe, because you cannot have positive without negative. It would be like trying to say that we have light and there is never any darkness. In order for you to know light, there must be darkness. If you were a candle, as it was said, if you were a candle and it was billions of candles made up the sun, and you was a candle amongst the sun, you would not know darkness. You would think that you are the sun because you are a part of it, that you are the light. But not until your light stands in the darkness is when you know that you are the light. And you think about it, without darkness, you can never know light. But here's the other part. Without the light, you can never know darkness. Darkness wouldn't know of itself if there was no light. All things would be dark. Now, dark doesn't necessarily always mean evil. People like to do that. Man likes to do that. But darkness, think about it, there's more darkness in the universe. There's more dark energy in the universe than there is light, than there is light energy. So if there's more darkness in the universe, then what did the Creator create more of? He created more darkness. The Creator made more darkness. More dark energy was created than light energy. So what does that say? Does that mean that dark energy is negative, is evil? No. It is just the contrast of one or the other. What would make dark energy good or bad? The usage of it. What would make light energy good or bad? The usage of it. What would make anything in this universe good or bad? The usage of it. If I get angry because a horrible deed was done and that anger causes me to go and fix the deed or go to help someone, then is that anger negative or is it positive? Is it good or is it bad? Is it evil? No. We like to call that righteous anger, righteous indignation, because it is good. It is good to feel anger. It is good to feel love. Some people feel love for a person who's abusing them, who's beating them. Is that a good love or is that a bad love? Is that good? Is that love good or is it bad? Is it evil? Well, if that love causes you to remain in a situation where you're beaten, where you're verbally abused, then that love is not good. That love is evil because it continues to allow you to disrespect the God or goddess inside you. So all these things, nothing is good nor evil. They're all just tools. They're all just states of energy. How they're used, how they're perceived determines that. How you perceive God determines that. Now, when you read things like the Bible, because she talked about the Christian Bible, how she wanted more guidance, and they began to read the Christian Bible more. And the more they read, they realized that the God of the Bible is not a good person. And I say person, but it's not a good Bible, not a good God. And I say person because the Christian Bible and every other literature makes God into a human, basically. Gives God human-like emotions, gives God human-like actions. They humanize the Creator. And in the Christian Bible, go kill everybody in the town. Destroy all the men and the women, kill all the babies. And I know Christian apologists have said that, well, all the babies had to be killed because then there would be no adults to lead them and then they would just do whatever they want to do. But babies go to heaven, unless you're a Calvinist. Calvinists believe that babies go to hell. But they will go into that rhetoric that, he had to kill the babies and the babies are innocent, so the babies all go to heaven anyway, which doesn't make any sense, nor is there anywhere in their book that says that. This is just ways to make them feel better about their humanized Creator. So yes, one of their statements that the loving God was not loving, and I am at a point where I don't think all that is written in the Bible is true, and you would be absolutely correct. It is not true. A lot of it is made up. I think I've expressed earlier how the ending of Mark was added. The story of the of throwing the, he who was without sin cast the first stone to the woman who was committed adultery. That's a story that originally was, and they towards the end of Mark, but then they moved it further into the middle of Mark. But it's a made-up story in the first place because the original versions of Mark didn't have it at all. So it's a made-up story to try to teach a point. But of course, it creates a problem. If this woman is there, then where's the guy? I mean, she can't commit adultery by herself. You got to have somebody with you to commit this adultery. Just saying. So it's a made-up story. So it's not all true. It's not all part of there. I mean, characters. None of those characters there's no proof or other records of any of those people written about them at the time of their creation, of that they were supposed to be walking around. There's no history. There's no proof of them ever existing. No one. There's no proof of Moses. There's no proof of Abraham. There's no proof of anybody other than that literature. And you can't prove literature with the same literature. That doesn't prove it. There's nothing. No records. No court records. No documents. No census data. There's nothing. So of course it's not all true. So how do I see God? So what do I believe? I believe that God is the creator. Because I don't like to use the term God. It's very puts the creator in the box. I believe that the creator is everything in all things. I believe that the creator is a force, if you will, that is, as best we can understand, wrapped up in the laws of nature. We have to see the laws of nature and understand the Hermetic laws in order to understand the creator. We know that what people may call miracles are cause and effect. We know that there is the law of correspondence, as above, so below. Whatever you bind in heaven, you bind on earth. Whatever you loose in heaven, you loose on earth. We understand that there's the law of mentalism, that whatever you perceive, whatever you can think about it, if you can think about it and you can put some action behind it, cause and effect, then your mental creations become reality. That is manifestation, but there has to be some cause and effect. That everything is on a polarity scale. There is no such thing as hot or cold. There is just temperature. And there is the scale of hot, and there's this on that same scale is hot and cold, but we cannot determine where hot and cold begins or ends because it's based on the law of vibration, that the more you speed something up, then it vibrates at a higher rate. So as far as temperature is concerned, the higher the vibration, the warmer, the higher the temperature. The lower the vibration, the lower the temperature. Same thing in relationship. The more you vibrate in the love actions, the actions that give love to the person that they will experience love, then the more love is created. So if you're in a marriage and you know how your husband or wife experience love, the more you do it, the more you vibrate at that frequency to give them love, then the more they experience it, because your causal factors now are doing things that should have the effect of them feeling love. Then the higher the love frequency, the higher the love vibration. You've created love. That mental state that you had, that imagery you had of the loving relationship, is now becoming reality because you have vibrated at a higher level of love to move you up the polarity scale of love. And if you was on the pendulum, the law of rhythm, if you swung to the left of less love, you are now vibrating at a faster, higher rate, at a higher frequency to swing you to the right of more love. And when you can polarize it, you can stay there in continuous vibration of it, but that vibration requires the law of gender, which it requires both male and female energies in order to create that love. I know I just went through all 7 laws, natural laws, all 7 hermetic laws in that one example, but you have to utilize all 7 laws in order to have the law of attraction, to have and understand that's how the creator creates everything. That's how everything in this universe operates. Now, of course, there are levels of frequency, levels of vibration, levels of reality, of mentalism that we have yet to discover. And some we won't discover in this incarnation, in this existence. But there are some, and we call those miracles, we call those supernatural. We just don't understand them yet. At one point, people couldn't understand how certain things that we do today are done. If you said something about talking to people who aren't here, a telephone, 1,000 years ago, that would have been considered amazing and a miracle. That would be considered something. If somebody had higher technology, somebody healed somebody by using frequencies You know, today, 1,000 years ago, they may have thought that that was a miracle. You know, if you chanted and somebody was healed, that was considered a miracle. But now we understand frequency. We understand mental abilities. If you think a person healthy and you get the right frequency, you can heal the body. We would think that way. And maybe they did have that 8,000 years ago, but we've lost it. It's possible because there are things that the Egyptians, the Sumerians, the Dogons, that all these different cultures did and had that we don't understand today. So I know I'm getting a little off tangent, but how do I now serve the Creator? I serve the Creator by serving the God and the Goddess, because I have both male and female energy. You have both male and female energy. So I serve the God and Goddess inside me. I feed it as healthy as I possibly can. I give it good energy as much as I possibly can. I am in gratitude of everything that is in my life, and I continue to seek more abundance in my life simply because the apple tree doesn't say these are enough apples. The apple tree, if it had its choice, would put itself in the best soil. It will put itself next to the best water source. It will produce as many apples as it possibly can. So when you have abundance in your life, and this should be a whole video by itself, it might become one by itself. When you have abundance in your life, when you have the ability to create abundance and have abundance, it is not selfish, it is not greedy. It is because you are an apple tree that can choose your soil, choose the water. You can choose the environment that you want to be in to produce as much fruit as possible. Now the question is, what do you do with the fruit? Do you have to give it all away? No. Some of it, yes, falls into the earth and nurtures the soil. Some of it feeds other animals that come through. Some of it is for you. Most of the tree, if an apple tree was left alone, no human involvement, most of the apples will fall to the earth and become part of the soil, which will give the tree more nutrients to produce more apples. So if you were an apple tree left alone, you will produce financial wealth, you will produce loving wealth, you will produce material wealth, and you will keep most of it for yourself and utilize it, experience it. But because we do have reasoning, because we have a God and Goddess within, then we actually can produce more by helping others. We can produce more by giving to others, but only we give to those who are worthy of it. A good steward of any abundance doesn't just frivolously give it away. You give to those who can appreciate it, those who can utilize it to help others. I wouldn't give money to somebody trying to build a company and they don't know how to build a company, or they don't know how to run a company, or I'm not at least going to be there to mentor them and they have an open mindset and open heart to be able to be mentored to run the company. I have to be with somebody I know they're going to run it well and it's going to produce more. And then what they produce can go on to help somebody else produce, and we can all continue to produce. That's why I don't believe in just going into certain neighborhoods, certain impoverished people, and just giving a bunch of stuff to them, because they won't know how to use it. As it is said in finance, if you took all the money in the world, actually let's just use America. If you took all the money in America and you distributed it out evenly, within 5 years, those who were originally the 1% will be the 1% again, because they know how to make money. They know how to utilize money. Those who don't know how to use money will lack that skill, and who lack that skill and ability will give it right back to those who know how to. A fool and his money is often separated. So you have to be wise in that. But don't be afraid to accumulate, to have the abundance. Don't be afraid of that. Look in nature. The lion will hunt the water buffalo, but the lion won't overeat. It won't overhunt the water buffalo. It won't overhunt any animal. The grazing animals won't overgraze an area. They will graze and move on. But then their numbers get thinned out by the predators. It's a natural flow. We have to get into the natural flow of things. And this will be a whole other video. We have to get into the natural flow of things and decide what kind of animal. Are we grazers or are we predators? And predators is not a negative thing. Without predators, there was I can't remember exactly where, but I remember it was something like they got rid of all the wolves, and when they got rid of all the wolves, I think it was in Yellowstone, like the deer population went crazy, and it was killing the vegetation life and all things. It was just out of sync, out of whack. So they introduced a small wolf pack, and the wolf pack grew, and then the balance came back in. So you have to have predators. All right, predators are not bad. Just choose which one you want to be, which one you are. So how do I serve God? I serve God by serving my life like nature serves the earth. I don't take more than I don't take in abundance to the part where it destroys, but I do create as much abundance as I possibly can. But I do the same thing in love. I try to help and be loving towards as many people as I possibly can. But if somebody is undeserving of love, I cannot continue to give them my love, because now I'm wasting that resource that the Creator gave to me to be able to manage. I must be a good steward over it. So I serve God by serving all of nature, all the universe, in the perfect balance of it, by becoming the greatest version of myself. You see, you are part of the Creator. The Creator created you as an image of Himself. And I say Himself, but an image of itself. Being that, can the Creator be anything less than its best? So serve the Creator by becoming the best version of yourself. You have certain gifts. If you're not using your gifts, you're not serving the Creator. If you have certain talents, you're not serving the Creator. You're not using them, you're not serving the Creator. If you have the talent of sales, but you're not going out there making sales, then you're not serving the Creator. You need to go serve the Creator. If you have the ability to design clothing or design houses or do anything like that, and you're not using that talent, you're not serving the Creator. But if you're using that talent, you're serving the Creator. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I'm going to go do it and I'm going to help the poor. No, go make a ton load of money so that you have the finances to help the poor. Anytime somebody comes to me and they say, well, I want to open up a nonprofit for women, make money first to support your nonprofit. Don't beg other people to do it. You make money and then use that money to serve your nonprofit. It's the best way to do it. So you serve, that's how you serve the Creator. And take better care of yourself. Eat better. Eat healthy. Exercise. Learn how to meditate. Come to a point where you can get into a Zen mode with the Creator so that you can hear clearer the wisdom that the Creator is bringing to you. See, I know you said in your email that the Creator is not speaking to you, that you're not getting it from the Bible. And you're not getting it from the Bible because you're trying to get it based on what other people's impressions and thoughts are and other people's interpretations. You have to come to your understanding. I know that book tells you to lean not to your own understanding, because the control mechanism is for you to lean to whatever they said you're supposed to believe. But why are you leaning to the understanding of a bunch of crooked, power-hungry people from 2,000 years ago? Lean to your own understanding, because the Creator will give you what you need. But you have to learn how to open yourself up to that by being at peace with the fact that you don't have to believe what everybody else believes. That what other people think of you doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you think of yourself. Because you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. So don't worry about what other people think, because you have to recognize the God and Goddess that is inside you. Raise your kundalini so that your greatness can be recognized.